Thank you so much for having me and for being here and for coming out. I really appreciate it. My name is Elizabeth Bacon. I'm actually the community coordinator for the Clemente course in the humanities here in Worcester. I have a cohort who is Professor Jim Kokola, who teaches literature at WPI. He's the academic director. But the Clemente course is a 6-credit college-level course for low-income adults. The course just received the National Humanities Medal, from President Obama on September 3rd. So we're really, really happy to be a part of this effort, which is an international effort. Here in the United States, there are 30 Clemente courses. Here in Massachusetts, there are 6. Worcester started up last year. Springfield is starting up this year. So last year, we graduated our first class. And the project is really a partnership. I was hoping to show you some pictures of the project in action, but perhaps we'll do that another time. The project is a partnership. We have funding in place really for 3 years from the Stoddard Charitable Trust. We have funding for our professors from WPI, Holy Cross, and QCC. Worcester State runs the child care part of the project, and it's sponsored by Worcester Interfaith here in the city, which is an organization of the churches here in the city. And it's been a profound experience for a lot of us. In order to enroll, people must have an income of 150% of the federal poverty guidelines or lower. They must be able to read a tabloid newspaper in English. And they must have the desire to finish the course, which is a year-long effort. So we have 5 professors, 2 from WPI, 3 from Clark this year, teaching 5 humanities courses: philosophy, art history, and of course, one of our partners is the Art Museum, so the project is taking place in the Art Museum. And tonight will be our first art history class in front of the paintings. So we're really trying to make this project as exciting and integrated into our community here in Worcester as possible. So that's to literature and U.S. history and critical thinking and writing. Our students, we interviewed 50 students. We accepted 30, and we have about 8 on the waiting list for this year. And it's a difficult course, but nationally more than half of the students graduate. And it's been kind of a profound experience. To give you an example of the kind of things that happen, in the philosophy course, we read Antigone this year, you know, the story of a daughter of incest. And all of a sudden, a discussion broke out about abuse. But the class spoke about that through the text. And we feel that fictional characters can mitigate difficult ideas and concepts and experiences. Also, another example is we read Plato's Cave, you know that story? And all of a sudden people realize, you know, this Plato wrote his allegory 2,400 years ago. And people are saying, man, you know, look, screen time in our society is pretty similar to those shadows on the wall. So the discussion is also extraordinary because of the diversity of the student body. I have a list here of where our students came from last year. We had about half male, half female. The youngest was 19, the oldest was about 60, and they came from the Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, Puerto Rico, Santa Lucia, and Vietnam, directly born in those countries, and then students born in the continental United States, included people of African American, Asian American, European American, Latino, and Latina backgrounds. Prior education levels range from 3rd grade to a master's degree. But the most extraordinary thing is the conversations that take place and the community that's put together and through this year-long experience. It's 8 months. We're looking forward to our second class, which just began this week. And there are a couple of other things. I had my PowerPoint ready. There's a marvelous video made in the Dorchester program that you can visit on Mass Humanities website.org. Mass Humanities is another partner in the Clemente course here in the state. They're a really important partner as well. They fund our academic director. And let's see, I'm sure I'm missing out on a couple of things I wanted to tell you, but do you have any questions? Maybe we can do that.
You said there were 5 courses.
5 courses, yeah.
You said philosophy, art history.
Right.
What
Literature, critical thinking and writing, and U.S. history. And so we have Ruth Smith from WPI teaching philosophy, and Jim Cocola teaches, actually we're doing poetry here in Worcester, which is a bit unique. We have Uzman Power Green from Clark teaching U.S. history, and Raphael Rogers, also from Clark, teaching critical thinking and writing, and Barbara Biel-Profana teaches art history. So those are, this is kind of it's a partnership. We're also growing through community dinners. So if you'd like to know more about the Clemente course, we're having community dinners 3 times a year so that people can come in and meet the students. I was hoping to bring one of our graduates here with me today and perhaps another time. But it's been an effort to create a pathway to college for a lot of people who've never had a chance to go to college before. But personally, success in the Clemente course for me is not really about college credits, although it's so important to have a college degree in our society today. It's more about being ready to participate in our community, in our democracy, and to feel confident doing so. So there have been some recent studies that have reported back nationally increased communication skills and competence, making it easier for people to communicate with those in authority, including their child's teachers, counselors, principals, bosses, supervisors, college professors, and law enforcement, as you can imagine. We also run a child care program run by the John Bonenda Center over at Worcester State, and those students get work study and college credit for working in our child care program. And we are trying to match up stuff that's with the kids of our students, like Mount Holyoke's Philosophy for Kids. So we take children's books and talk about ideas of loyalty and justice through the children's books, in the hope they get home and then they can talk about loyalty and justice and what those things mean behind the dinner table, around the dinner table together. Yeah.
So, as a member of Worcester Interfaith, I want to say thank you for the work that you're doing. The question I have has to do with whether or not you foresee Clemente at any time working through the modality of online learning for those who have transportation issues and other kinds of things that would inhibit them from, or non-traditional in the sense that they work in such a way that they can't do the classes?
That is such a great question, and we're talking about that a lot. We've put together an advisory board with representatives from the different colleges who are supporting us, who are depending on for the faculty stipends, and other members of the community as well. Greater Worcester as well has been involved, and we've talked about this a lot. And really, we're gonna buck up against the grain. We really believe that people need to come together, like you are here every week, and talk around the table with each other. About half of our students do not have computers, and so that makes it difficult. That would be a dream for the future, to provide computers for them, which we are intent on doing. But right now, we want to ensure that the Clemente course survives, okay, beyond the 3 years. And so we had a really successful first year, and we have the same kind of diverse contingent in this year's class, and it's very, very exciting to have people from around the world who never really have a chance to sit down and talk to each other, doing so twice a week for 8 months here in our city. And so we're hoping that through this program, which is growing nationally, that we will be growing leadership for our organizations here in the city. That's really kind of our goal.
Yeah. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation donated the computers for the Great Brook Valley Library. And so you could probably contact them for computers.
Thank you. I will do that. Thank you.
How does this course change the lives of participants?
That is a great question. I have, let's see, so I can tell you about some of our students. One, Larry Madden, needed 1 college credit to graduate for 19 years. He needed just 1 credit, and because of life circumstances, he couldn't get it. This course has changed his life, basically, he will tell you. He is no longer slicing meat at Shaw's. He is working, he's got a new job now over at the medical school, UMass Medical School, and his goal is to start a Clemente course in the local prison. So he's been in touch with Jim McGovern about that, and that's pretty cool. We'd love to have that happen for him. Othello Grigsby, we have a number of people who come from the Librarian Association of Worcester. He also has had a lot of economic ups and downs, and a lot of our students have had trouble taking college loans in the past and not finishing the degree. And of course, then you have to pay back your loans, and it impacts your credit score, as we all know. So we are working with Amy Evison of the Next Step program at Worcester State to develop a pathway. And there's a new program at Clark for certificate in youth work. Lori Ross. So we held an event together in the city, trying to attract people who want to join together and see if we can create a pathway to make it easier to get college degrees for people who haven't been able to afford it. Also, another focus is that we'd like to see more minority teachers in the school. And so we're really, a lot of our graduates would love to give back. And they look at social service as one of the ways they could do it. And I'd love to see them, you know, gain a teaching certificate and see if we could grow more minority teachers through this as well. So.
I'm trying to understand how it works. Students take a course in 5 areas, they take several courses, they're matriculated to one of the schools. Who grants the credit? Is it just to fill in little gaps, or is it go here for a year?
It's, the credits are granted by Bard College, Annandale on Hudson, New York. Do you know Bard at all? Okay, so I'll go backwards a little bit. So the founder of the Clemente course was a guy named Earl Shorris, and he wrote a book called The Art of Freedom. He also wrote another book. He was researching poverty in America. He was a writer, and his other book was called The New American Blues, A Journey Through Poverty to Democracy. And he spent a long time interviewing people, and one of the people he interviewed was at the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility in Bedford Hills, New York. And he asked this woman, you know, what is it that would have helped you? And she said something that was really interesting. She said, being exposed, greater exposure to what she called the moral life of downtown. And what she meant was the things that we all immerse ourselves in all the time, which is novels, plays, art exhibits, political debates. And he took this idea and he put the Clemente course together. It's about 20 years old now. And so that answers the one part of your question. The second part is that this community of 30 people come together and they meet every Tuesday and Thursday night for 8 months. And so during those 8 months, they're exposed to 11 different classes of each one of the 5 humanities strands. And then at the end, the professors get together and they decide whether to grant all 6 credits based on the writing that the students do, or just partial credit. And those who don't get any credit get a certificate of completion. And so we try to build a community around this. Yeah.
You said one course takes place at the Worcester Art Museum. Where do the other courses take place?
The whole course takes place at the Art Museum.
Okay.
And what I was saying is that we were lucky that on Thursday nights, it's open to the public, so everybody goes down in the galleries, and Barbara teaches right from the paintings, which is really, really cool. And then we have the studios there as well, so that's really been a cool place. A lot of them have never been to the art museum before. We took a survey. It was like 90% of them had never been in the art museum. And the art museum gave them a 1-year membership to the graduates last year when they heard that. So it was great. So we had kids go to the summer program, and it's just been a lot of fun. The people are great. And so anyway, thank you so much for allowing me to tell you.